So welcome back to the first video for this week of Faith on Friday. In this case, we are going back to Illinois, specifically East St. Louis. This case involves another fetal abduction video. Of course, I haven't covered one of these cases, well, a case in this category in a while. And so, of course, this is another case where not only was the fetus abducted and the mother of said fetus unfortunately loses her life. Of course, innocent lives want to be taken as well. So without spoiling too much, let's jump right in. So we're going to start with Tiffany. Tiffany was born on March 23rd, 1982. She would meet her long-term best friend, Jamila Turnstall, and when they were in kindergarten. And Jamila Turnstall was born on February 22nd, 1983. And so, of course, it says that Jamila moves between multiple foster homes. So at 14, Tiffany apparently first gets arrested for kicking her mother. She didn't do drug tests that apparently were mandatory. She was skipped school and she was missing curfew. So at 16, Tiffany winds up having her first child, so 1998. The following year, in 1999, she winds up having her second child. So then the two kids that Tiffany has at this point, they get taken away after it was revealed that she is abusing the 2-month-old. So the child that she just had not that long ago. And despite the child getting taken away, they would sadly wind up suffering long-term disabilities from this, such as still wearing diapers at the age of 7 and not being able to speak properly. They were returned to Tiffany after the Department of Children and Family Services determined she was no longer a danger, and apparently the state attorney at the time never filed charges regarding the abuse that she had inflicted on this 2-month-old. And so the kids were returned to her in 2002, as I should have mentioned, and in 2003 she would get charged with stealing her credit card. So now that I've talked about Tiffany a little bit, now we're going to go back to Jamila. So Jamila winds up having 3 kids. She gives birth to her oldest child, Desmond, on May 7th, 1999. She has a son named Ivan, who she gave birth to on September 28th, 2003. So just a couple days ago is the time that I'm currently recording this. And then she winds up giving birth to a second daughter named Jan Ella, born on December 4th, 2004. So sadly, Jamila will wind up losing custody of her kids after it was revealed that she was beating Ivan with an extension cord and a belt. She winds up getting the kids back after taking mandatory parenting classes. She uses her income tax money to go buy a car and enrolls in classes to become a photographer, basically trying to better the life for her and her kids. And so Jamila, she would only let her kids play outside if she was there too. Understandably, make sure we actually keep an eye on them, not through the window like some mothers do. And despite Desmond being the oldest and technically old enough to walk by herself, she still walked her daughter to the bus stop every day, out of safety, because there's some crazy people out here. Understandably. And so in early 2006, Jamila announces that she's pregnant with her 4th child. And Tiffany, of course, announces she's pregnant at 2. So they allegedly are pregnant at the same time. Of course, like I said in the beginning, this is a fetal abduction case. Tiffany is not actually pregnant. She's pretending to be pregnant. But Jamila was sadly actually pregnant at the time this happened. So in early September, we don't have an exact date, but Tiffany, the one who's not pregnant, she goes buys alcohol, scissors, and a syringe. What's about to happen on September 15th, 2006. She goes over, the exact details of what happened is not known, but what's believed to have happened is she went over to Jamila's house where she was alone at the time. She beats pregnant Jamila, who apparently is 7 or 8 months pregnant at the time this happens. So she's obviously, she's going to fight to make sure her and his baby survive. So Tiffany basically beats Jamila with a table leg until she's unconscious. She then grabs the scissors that she bought. She cuts open her stomach, takes the baby out of the womb. Jamila, of course, bled to death, sadly. And then she puts Jamila's body in a vacant lot. So apparently on the next day, Tiffany waits till the next day, I guess, to gather up a story of what we're going to tell everybody, because people going to be asking questions, understandably. So Tiffany calls the police the next day. She tells them, look, I was raped. And in other sources, it will say that she took it back and that the sex was consensual. But that a sexual act did happen. That's how the baby was born. And apparently the doctors couldn't find a cause of death. And she refused to let the doctors examine her as to are you okay? Because the baby dead. We gotta make sure, you're okay. And so Tiffany winds up naming the baby Taylor Horn, because Horn's the last name of the boyfriend that she has deployed overseas. So then on the 18th, because apparently she was discharged from the hospital pretty quickly, she goes over to the father of the 3 kids. So apparently, Desmond, Ivan, and Janella are all over at their father's house. She goes over to pick these kids up. Keep in mind, Tiffany and Jamila are like best friends. So this was a common thing that she would do if like Jamila wasn't available, she was out doing whatever. So he lets them go without any confirmation that Jamila's okay with this, because this is a common occurrence, and that they were best friends. So he lets them go with the kids, not knowing that was the last time he'd ever see his kids alive. So then that same day, they go back to the apartment. Tiffany goes and drowns all three of them in the same bathtub that she killed their mother in, and then she puts their bodies in the washer and the dryer. So apparently she has a funeral scheduled for September 21st. She tries to have the funeral scheduled on a different day to see if more family could attend. There's one part, it says only 2 people attended this funeral, and one of them being Kevin Horn, who this man believes this is his child that he's at this funeral for, and he somehow got permission to come back for the funeral of his child. It's not his child, but in his mind he thinks it's his child. So, and also to add insult to top of injury, Tiffany was 2 hours late, and she would eventually tell Kevin that she killed Jamila to get this child. And of course, Kevin, being the good person he is, he calls the police. So who knows how long she would have been out had it not been revealed had she not revealed to Kevin that she killed Jamila to get this baby. Tiffany obviously gets charged with murder. By this point, apparently they found Jamila's body, and they get charged. So she gets charged with Jamila's murder and the fetus daughter's murder. So the fetus was a girl. Okay. So, and they said by this point they've already checked the house for like where the kids are at, because we know Jamila's dead, we know the fetus dead. Where the kids at? They hadn't checked the washer and dryer. So she eventually confesses, go look at the washer and dryer. They find the kids are decomposing. So also by this point, we got 3 more charges of murder to add on top of the charges of murder you already got. So then the 2 daughters that she had, they're returned to foster care after she gets arrested, obviously, because, yeah. September 29th, Jamila has her funeral with more than 700 people attending. More than $30,000 was raised within 3 days to help for like funeral expenses, because funerals, even back then, be expensive. Now, was that money helped to like raise for the kids' funerals? It didn't say. When the kids even had their funerals, again, it didn't say. I would like to assume like the mother and all her babies had their funerals like together, but again, it did not say. So if anybody knows, please let me know. So Tiffany finally gets sentenced to 2008. Obviously, of course, you over committing 5 murders, 4 of them being innocent children. You eligible for the death penalty, even though the death penalty was technically taken out of Illinois in like 2003, but they was considering like bringing it back just for her. So that's how you know it's bad. So she gets life without parole, just so she took a plea deal of life without parole just so she would not get the death penalty. And of course, she's still in jail to this day. So yeah, if obviously it is never a man, because I think in both these cases they killed an innocent woman for her baby over a man. A man is never worth killing a random innocent pregnant woman over. A man is never worth killing someone over, like, period. But like, especially someone for their baby, like that's just right. And then especially, what if the baby doesn't look like you? It doesn't look like the father. It's gonna raise questions like, was the baby adopted? And then the father is probably gonna think that you cheated. It's all these sort of things you gotta think about, and also morality. So anyway, I'm gonna quit my rambling. If anybody has any other cases similar that you want me to cover, definitely let me know, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded?